Good evening. Welcome to this channel about past lives and reincarnation. I like this time. It's very dark here and it's cold. I didn't used to like it, but now I do. It's a time for looking at things and talking about things, you know. And I was thinking about the Vikings. What were they doing when it got dark and cold? They went inside, of course. And then they talked for hours and hours, right? And they came up with these stories, these ideas about how the world was created, with these gods and everything. I think it's great. So I get a lot of questions. I'm very happy about these questions. It helps me. They are very interesting. And I know what to talk about. It's good. So here's the first one. I wonder if reincarnation follows the actual genetic lines from previous incarnations. Well, this is what I have observed about this. Now, when a baby is born, there is like a line of spirits. Could be a long line, depending on who the baby is. And these spirits, they want that body. They want to live that life, see? And then you see the grandparents. They are standing first in line, sort of. It's like they have a ticket, see? And they say, well, I'm the grandfather of that mother. You know, back off. This is my baby, see? I think this is very, very common. Right? But it doesn't have to be like this, of course not. Myself, for instance, I moved around a lot. This is my first life in Sweden, for instance. Now, I used to be like this in Greece. I lived many, many lifetimes in Greece. And I used this system. So I got lots of children. I raised them as well as I could, you know. And then they got children. And then they got children. And that was about the time when I was ready to die. So I could pick one of these children, you see? You know, this is what I believe, this is why grandparents are so kind to grandchildren. Because they recognize them as future parents. So they bring gifts, and they bring candy, and they are so nice to them. To their children, it's different, right? They want their children to be good and just, and they have to learn things about honesty and stuff. With the grandchildren, it's a bit different. They want a good relationship with their future parents. This is what I believe. Alright, so here's the next question. Do you believe that there will be a new earth and that some of us will ascend to a higher dimension with it, as many religions suggest? Well, this is what I believe. The world is changing, of course, all the time. Now we see a positive change, and the new world will be better. But it's not going to be overnight. It's a slow process. I don't believe for a second that some big spirits or a big spirit will wipe it all out and then create a new fantastic paradise world. I don't believe it. We have to do it ourselves. I'm certain about this. Right. And of course it's going to be better. Can't be worse. And in this new world it will be easier for people to ascend to higher dimensions. Because the oppression will be less. I believe that this is key. And this is what's happening right now. People are realizing this thing about psychopaths. And they start to recognize who they are and what they are doing to this to this civilization. This is key, I think. We have to understand who these people are and what they are doing, and then treat them accordingly. See? So that would be the key to this future, more brighter world. Right. Next question. If someone told you that we are all living in a holodeck complex superstructure and not a true Big Bang scenario, what do you think about this? Well, that's a bit like it is, really. I see this world as a game. You know, this place is a game, really. And when people come here, they sort of forget who they are. So they sort of leave themselves behind. So they are not really themselves when they are here. So in that sense, it's like a holodeck structure. And this place is built on agreements. You know, it's all about agreements. This piece of paper, for instance, we agree that this is a piece of paper, right? That's why it is a piece of paper, because we agree. And we agree that we can write on it, you know. Same thing with everything that we see around us. Like time, for instance. Time exists because we agree it exists. It wouldn't exist if we didn't agree on it. I think in the past, long time ago, somebody came up with this idea. All right, let's have time, you know. Let's have a past and the present and the future. And others would say, what are you talking about? Why should we have this? And in the beginning, not everybody agreed on this, but eventually everybody did. Yeah, of course, we know now what time is. This is what I believe. Now, may sound very strange, but that's what I think, all right? Next question is this. Is it possible that we might also inherit physical traits or weaknesses from our past life? Right, this is exactly what's going on. And I'll tell you two stories. When I was younger, about 16, 17 years old, right? And earlier too, I had problems with my throat. Whenever I got a cold, it hit my throat, see? And it hurt very much every time. That was like a weak point in my body, see? And then many years later, I was looking at past lives, and I saw a hanging. Right, I saw myself hanging there. And as I was watching this thing, I could feel the thing, see? It was very physical. I could feel the pain in my throat. And I went through it. I looked at all the details on this incident. And after a while, I totally relaxed about the whole thing, see? And I saw what happened. And this is key. You have to acknowledge what happened. You can't say, oh, no, I'm just imagining this thing. It doesn't work. You have to look at it and confirm to yourself that this is actually what's going on. See? So I did this, and after that I had never had any problems. I never had pain in my throat again. Of course, when I get a cold, something can happen to my voice, you know, but I never feel the pain. Never happens. Here's the next example, my foot. I talked about my foot, right? My right foot, I had problems with my right foot, and I was looking at it. Now, during this process, as I was looking at this, talking to my foot, you know, I saw a spear That's the first thing I saw, penetrating my foot. And it was a metal blade and a wooden shaft, you know. And I thought, wow. And I looked at myself after a while, looking at this incident. I looked at myself, and I was so disappointed because I was so weak, you know. And I thought, what's the matter with you? Why don't you do something, you know? I was so weak. And there was this, it wasn't like a war, it was more like a struggle. It was like, I think 15 people involved in this struggle. And we had spears, and we had swords. And I was a weak, pathetic man. That's what I thought. I couldn't defend myself properly. I was so disappointed with this. But anyway, I saw the incident, and you know, it helped me with my foot. So absolutely, we are these physical traits that we have. I would say 100% of them come from experiences in the past. I would say this. I don't know if it's true, but I just say it because that's what I believe. All of it comes from past experiences. You know, when I look at people, the physical problems that people have, immediately I think about this. What happened to you? What did you do? You know, I see somebody in a wheelchair, for instance. So what happened? You know, something happened to you, right? And I say we are punishing ourselves through our decision making. See, we live a life, past life, right? And you do something bad. Let's say you lie. You lie about a good friend, let's say. You lie about a good friend, and your friend is killed because you lied. Well, you don't like it, do you? And you want to stop yourself from doing it again. So in the next life, maybe you will not be able to speak. This is what I believe. Right. That's all. Be good.